Hey y'all, we're back. I don't plan on coming back this early, so I'm gonna knock out this little video. Of course, Carlos King is getting ready to or gearing up to do a interview with Andrea Kelly, as you guys can see on my screen or in my description rather. He's getting ready to do a interview with Andrea Kelly, and he's put out a promo video of the actual interview. So we're going to look at that, and then we're going to look at one more video to kind of give a little bit more clarity into this situation with Andrea, with her lying ass. Okay, I cannot do Andrea Kelly because she is a whole liar out here. But everything said in the video is alleged and in my opinion, and is used for fair use and entertainment. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the clip with Carlos with his promo. Shout out to Carlos King. Let's get into the promo of him and Andrea Kelly. Okay. All right, so this is what's being said in the promo. All right, so Carlos King sits down with Andrea Kelly. The interview should drop, I think they're saying today at like 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Carlos King's YouTube channel. All right, so I'll be watching it because I want to hear the lies that she's going to be making up. Andrea Kelly is always the fucking victim, and I know enough stuff about this case from all of the documentaries and interviews that she's done and interviews that I've seen to know that Andrea Kelly is not a fucking victim. Okay, let's get into this. All right.
I do feel like you're very misunderstood.
Because y'all judge something you don't know. You have to know what's at the root of your tree to know why you bear the fruit that you do. What was at the root of my tree was abuse. The fruit of my tree was being in an abusive relationship. But y'all want to judge the branches.
Obviously, your ex-husband is R. Kelly. How did it all come about? He approached you.
Carlos, I met him when I was 19. And then you meet this man in a position of power, and people don't understand. It's just not a Cassie going against Puff. The web is so big, you have the money to make me disappear.
Who was he before he first put his hands on you?
I don't know if there was really a real way to know who he was. Most women, we don't know the difference between a charming man and a cunning man. Relationships are one of two ways. A healthy relationship are good days with bad moments. Toxic relationships are bad days with good moments. You don't even know you're in something toxic. And 9 times out of 10, you have been somehow exposed to it in your life. Like for me, it was my grandfather.
You saw your grandfather hit your grandmother.
I look, and it is my grandfather choking my grandmother, banging her head against the glass pane door. So that seed was planted in me. So the way I grew up was to not love myself, to not think I'm worthy, and to feel that there's no escape from this. Because not only is it my grandfather, it's my mother. Now it's my husband. So here we are, 2 broken kids. You add fame, money, and then a record label that don't give 2 fucks about whether you're healthy or not. We need you to stay as sick as you are, because as sick as you are makes us money. At the end of the day, this is so much bigger than my ex. This is bigger than an R. Kelly. This is bigger than a Puff. This is so much bigger than what people understand. There's this vicious web. And you have them, the celebrity who's in the middle. Everybody gets paid off of our abusers being who they are. But when people are like, why is she coming forward now? No, I came forward a long time ago. Y'all chose not to listen. And I will be made out to look like, oh, she's just the jade to say wife who wanted money, she ain't getting money. And then you have women actually say things like that on social media. Y'all are more of an advocate for him and do more of his work than you are.
People have commented that your kids are grown. Why do you still carry R. Kelly's last name?
How would you feel if your name is Brown and your kid's name is Brown, and your family goes through something, you tell your kids, oop, you were Brown by yourself, I'm out. I don't want, no.
You being trapped in the house where you saw women come in on a regular basis.
I don't even know where that came from.
How did you escape him?
My daughter says to her dad, Daddy, why are you being mean? Why are you talking to my mommy like that? And he told my daughter, she know what the fuck she did. I said, God, I would rather die with me.
Your daughter recently revealed that her father molested her. Were you aware of that?
All right, so this will show today. They're sending at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Carlos King YouTube channel. I will be watching this because y'all know I have covered everything known to man with R. Kelly, that whole situation with Andrea Kelly, that whole situation pretty much. I watched every documentary, I've watched every interview, so I'm very well versed on how this situation goes and what has happened. Yeah, Andrea, you're not a victim, girl. Please stop this bullshit. Please stop this bullshit. And it's like she rehearses all of this stuff, and she sit on panels and interviews and she play victim, and the shit is so fucking disgusting. Girl, you are a part of this bullshit with R. Kelly. Like, stop this, allegedly. And the only reason you took your ass over there for the documentary to be a part of that was for a fucking check and notoriety. That's it. Girl, you knew exactly who the fuck R. Kelly was because you were his backup dancer for years, sleeping in the damn back there on that bus with all the other girls in the bed with you. And I got proof. I'm about to play it for y'all here in a few minutes. So, Andrea, spare us this bullshit about, oh, I'm a victim. He locked me in a room. You knew the nigga was violent. You knew he was abusive. You knew he was back there messing with young girls because your ass was young when you met him and he was doing the same shit to you. But you was infatuated with being in his presence and being able to say you was R. Kelly's girl and that none of the other girls could mess with him because he chose you because you was the dumbest one out of the damn group. He never even acknowledged you. Nobody even knew he was fucking married to your ass. Nobody knew that you were even married to him until you took your ass on that reality show over there. And even they were shocked and said, you were married to R. Kelly? Nobody knew you. He never announced you. Girl, get the fuck out of here. Let's play this video from public announcement. Shout out to DJ Vlad, all right? And you guys can watch it in its entirety. We're going to watch a good little bit just so that you guys can get the gist of the liar that Andrea Kelly is. I'm going to watch this damn interview with Carlos later on, but I definitely want to play a little bit of this so you guys can see and or hear the bullshit that Andrea Kelly was involved in. She very much so knew who the fuck R. Kelly was, and they getting ready to say it. Public announcement was there during the time that Andrea Kelly first started working for R. Kelly as a backup dancer. They actually was on the tour bus when they saw her ass back there in the tour bus with the other women, and they gonna talk about it as well. So she is not innocent. She knew exactly who Aaliyah was too. Yeah, she knew exactly who Aaliyah was because you sat back and watched Aaliyah go through the same shit that you went through, and you were infatuated and you wanted that spot and you got it. And now you sitting up in interviews crying and carrying on like, oh my God, woe is me. Girl, you chose that spot. Let's play this shit. Shout out to DJ Vlad. And this is the interview with DJ Vlad and public announcement. All right, two members from the group. The other member declined to be in the interview, but let's listen.
And you guys have, I guess, various tour buses?
At that point, no.
Just one tour bus?
One. Yeah.
Okay. And I guess Drea was one of the backup dancers.
Right. A little further down the line.
Look at him.
Further down the line.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look how he looking like, oh hell.
Well, so I'm just trying to get the chronology here in place. So initially she was not a backup dancer.
Well, no, she came in as a background dancer, but it was just a little later, you know what I'm saying, than the very beginning. She didn't start out with us, put it that way. Okay. She didn't kind of come along until like 12 Play album.
Okay. So did Aaliyah come around first?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So you guys are on tour with R. Kelly and everything's blowing up. Mm-hmm. You guys are doing huge shows, things are crazy and so forth. Now, you know, before Aaliyah came around, you know, obviously you got a bunch of young men who are tasting fame for the first time. And you got a bunch of women who are going crazy over R&B.
Right.
It's primarily a female art form in terms of like the audience.
Right.
What are some of the crazier things that are happening female-wise up to that point?
I'll let you take that.
Well, for me, I can't speak on them. It got so bad I was in a drought. Everything was, it was one of those things where everybody was around, but they were like, we were so busy. It was hard to actually reach out to women and say, hey, come meet me in my hotel room. Hey, do this, that, because everything was rush, 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 go, go, go. So if you really wanted that, you actually had to go, hey, make sure you give them my number. And you had to pass your number to somebody else on the team to get it to her. Because other than that, it was like you were royalty. Everything was rushed. And I mean, literally, it was people putting their hands on you, moving you from one place to another everywhere you went. So for me, I was sitting there dry going, what am I going to do? Now, the star over here, I can tell you about his business because it's right here in front of him. You know that thing about Cinderella?
They're so funny.
So it's the male version. It's the male version of Cinderella. You know, always had to stay back and clean this and do this and that. Mm-hmm. I was Cinderella. This guy. When I say star,
I mean, Vlad, imagine, I know you heard stories of people on tour all the time. So imagine, an above average artist that is on tour above average. We were like probably 10 times that. So it was, crazy everywhere we went. It was crazy.
No, he was asking for specifics. So you need to say something that happened. Right. Just go into that. Thought I'd help you out. Sorry.
I mean, girls, okay. I got a good story for you there. Even when we first started out and we were doing club dates, and we would be like, the bus would stay at the hotel and we'd be in like a van. And after the show, it looked like a funeral going back to the hotel. Nothing but cars. Nothing but no, it did.
I know.
Lying. It looked like a funeral. And that's
long
where,
procession.
It would go crazy. I mean, at that point.
Yeah. Somehow, some way, somebody gave out the number or the information to where we were staying, and it was on. So yeah, I do remember that. That was funny.
There's a video, and let me know because I can't quite figure out the time frame of it. But it's R. Kelly performing in a theater type venue, and I'm not sure if it's you guys or someone else holding up a sign that says 18 and over.
Oh, no, it's him. It was him. It was him holding the sign up. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you know who it was. It was him. As a matter of fact, before you actually ask your question, I remember us specifically getting those uniforms because, yeah, that's funny. We got those uniforms minutes before we actually hit the stage. They didn't have wardrobe for us. Guess who had those same uniforms on before us? High five.
Okay.
Not kidding. We put them on and went out there and performed. Done.
Wasn't High Five a kids group?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys put on High Five's uniforms, and R. Kelly's performing, and you're holding up a sign that says 18 and over.
That would be Dre. That would be Dre. Yes,
and,
this guy.
Right.
And see, let me explain that, Vlad, because
make it good.
He was putting it
a little bit.
And what's crazy is I think I held that sign on Jay Leno's show too back.
Let's move forward a little bit.
So that was all real.
We had limitations on what we could and couldn't write when we were all sitting signing. So
that was kind of his thing to write. We couldn't write She's Got That Vibe because he learned how to write that, and that was his thing to write.
He didn't really
because they knew R. Kelly couldn't read or write.
He could not be involved in that for real. So you would see her passing by, but to sit and hang out.
Okay, let me back up just a little bit. I'm sorry, guys.
That was aggravating because it went from being nice to now like a dictatorship. This, don't do it, and walk away.
So at what point did Aaliyah start coming around?
Well, Barry Hankerson brung her around and, and introduced her as she's an artist, this, that, and the third. And, and
public
Rob was
announcement,
going to produce her.
Let me pause.
So at that point,
this is public announcement, you guys, from the group with R. Kelly. Y'all remember R. Kelly and public announcement? These are members from the group that's getting ready to speak on Andrea Kelly and how she's not a fucking victim. All right. So let's listen up. They're going into how Aaliyah came into play, and then after Aaliyah was taken out, how Andrea, who was around most of the time and knew of Aaliyah and knew Aaliyah, how she came in and took Aaliyah's spot.
They started to work on the album. So, you would see her in the studio every now and again. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, when it came to any females or anything like that, we really could not be involved in that for real. So you would see her passing by, but to sit and hang out and do that, no, that won't happen.
Okay. And when you first, saw Aaliyah and heard her sing and stuff like that, did you automatically know, like, okay, this is going to be a big star right here? Or was it still kind of, rough back then, in the makings?
It was still kind of rough to me because I looked at it almost like, because I think I watched her do vocals one time and, and she sung so soft. So he would have her sitting and she would be so close to the Papa Stopper and she would almost be whispering. So I wasn't sure if that was going to work. You know what I'm saying? But it worked. You know what I'm saying? So couldn't have known that it was going to go over the way that it did. It was impossible until you started to hear the records.
And you guys knew that she was 14 at the time?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
But I remember there was a video that I saw of R. Kelly in the studio. I think it was like MTV or something. And he's kind of showing the cameraman around. He goes, oh, and this is my new artist, Aaliyah. She's 14 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Yeah. So,
so
he knew her actual age at the time and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So R. Kelly's producing Aaliyah. Did you guys know that there was any sexual relationship, improper relationship, anything going on between R. Kelly and Aaliyah?
I didn't know. And that was because I treated it like a job. I came, went to studio, CD, whatever it was we were supposed to be in, worked on the stuff that we needed to work on, and then I go home. So I remember seeing her once, but other than that, I actually don't remember seeing her. So I was in and out.
And that's why I think it's, it's hard for people to understand because they thinking like, well, you guys are there. You never seen nothing. But if you know him, you're not going to see nothing. If you know who he is, because he keeps everything under control. Everybody that's there, I don't care what capacity you work in, you're only going to do what he wants you to do. And you're only going to be involved in things that you need to be involved in.
So there was a lot of separation. We were always separated from everybody else because we'd be in the studio working on whatever it is that we were working on. And next 2 studios down, it could be somebody else working on an album. It could be, but all under his camp. But it wasn't, oh, let me go over here and say hi to Changing Faces. Oh, let me go over here and say hi to, no, it wasn't that. We go in there, do the job, and we leave.
Okay. Now, there was a third member of the group, Earl Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
Now, from what I understand...
You dare not speak his name.
No, don't do that.
No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
No, let him roll, man.
Now, from what I understand, Earl Robinson did see some stuff between R. Kelly and Aaliyah.
Yeah, he said he did.
Okay.
That's what he said. He told me that.
Earl was married to Sparkle. The third member of this group, Earl, was married to the singer Sparkle, who then left her marriage to be with and around R. Kelly, okay? Because she also was having a situationship with R. Kelly.
So what did Earl tell you exactly?
He said he saw Rob and Aaliyah on the back of the bus.
Having sex?
Yeah.
Mm.
And R. Kelly was what, 24 at the time?
Somewhere in there, maybe 25, 26.
Mm.
Okay. How did you react when you were told that a 26-year-old is having sex with a 14-year-old?
I told Earl, my exact words was, stop it. Stop it. You didn't see that. Stop it. And he swore he seen it. But my thing was, I didn't know to believe it because at that point, Earl's relationship with Rob wasn't that great. So I'm looking at it like, maybe you're on some craziness. You know what I'm saying? So I really didn't look at it no type of way at that stage.
Okay. And did you hear the story also from Earl?
No, Dre and I were buddies at that point, and I actually started pulling myself away. I was going through things with the management that I didn't agree with, so I started pulling myself away. I treated it like a job. I came, did my job, and I left. Even when we were touring, I did the exact same thing. I came, I did my job, and I left. And it was because I wasn't happy. I started not being happy with the way things were being ran for us as a group, and even more so for me personally. So I wasn't privy to it.
So did Earl leave the group because of that Aaliyah situation?
Yes, that's exactly why he left. Probably wasn't even a day or two after he told me that he was gone.
Okay, so now, and you guys were together before R. Kelly, right?
Right.
So here's your homie who you guys came up with,
right,
is leaving the group over some crazy shit.
Right, basically. But you know how I had to look at it though, Vlad? I had to say, okay, what if I worked at Walmart and one of my friends that worked there too, he doesn't like what's going on there, he decides to leave. What does that do for me and my family and me living? I can't leave off that. See what I'm saying? Especially when I know the dynamic of the relationship that you guys have. I don't even know if you're telling the truth or not. So I had to stay there. And Rob told me, you know, he asked me, he said, "Where's Earl?" I said, "He left." He said, "Why did he leave?" I said, "Well, he said he saw you and Aaliyah on the back of the bus." And he said, "Well, what that got to do with his check?" And I said, "Well, I guess nothing." And he said, "Well, since he left, I'm going to pay you what he got plus what I'm paying you. Now, would you leave?"
Well,
technically he was trying to pay him for his silence because he knew that he was messing with Aaliyah. So now it sounds like the bribery of it all to say, "Oh, I'm gonna pay you what I was paying him," meaning shut your damn mouth because I'm giving you some more money since you know what's going on between me and this 14-year-old. That's what it gave.
first of all, before I answer that question,
It's a one-sided interview.
what you're telling me right now is that R. Kelly didn't even deny it.
I'm telling you exactly what he told me.
Right. He didn't say that's bullshit. He's a liar. He said, and?
Right. Like, what does that have to do with him?
Okay. Me personally, I would not work for someone who's a child molester, but that's just me.
Right. I feel you. But
You know,
I didn't know that.
especially if the child molester didn't even deny it. Now, if there's a little bit of fuzziness going on, like this dude's probably lying, then I'd have to think about it. But if my boss was a child molester, I'd be out.
Right.
Me personally.
Period.
Me personally. But I'm not going to judge anyone in their position. You know, you guys are, you know, have to feed your own families and stuff like that. It is what it is. Well, at what point R. Kelly actually got married to Aaliyah?
Now, around that time, I wasn't there. Because of the way things were going and, you know, and just a certain way he was, I would leave off and on throughout everything. I've left quite a few times, went back, left quite a few times, went back. So during the time where he actually allegedly married her, I wasn't there. That's when the road manager guy was around, you know what I'm saying? And that was them, you know what I mean? So I don't know too much about that.
Well, R. Kelly's lawyer claimed that at the time of the marriage, Aaliyah had
Go ahead a little bit. So we know about that whole situation with Aaliyah.
If it was afterwards.
After. Okay.
Yeah.
So this whole Aaliyah thing is happening. And then after the whole marriage thing came out, everyone started to talk about it. It was like it became just popular culture.
We know about the marriage. I'm gonna go forward. I'm trying to get to Andrea.
Fans, please don't. I don't want the questions. I don't want this, that, and the other. So I was embarrassed.
Okay. At what point did Aaliyah actually separate herself? Was it after the whole marriage thing?
Yeah, it was after the marriage got annulled, you know, and then after that, she was gone.
Okay. I remember during the time, the rumor that was in the streets was that the reason why he got married to her was because he had gotten her pregnant and he was trying to avoid, you know, a statutory rape charge. And if they were married, then that would have alleviated him from that situation. Did you know anything about that?
I just heard Demetrius Smith in a video lately say that. So I never knew that.
Yeah.
I never heard that until just now. So, wow.
The streets have a way of kind of creating stories and growing them and so forth. That's why I want to ask you guys.
Yeah,
as someone that was actually part of the situation, you know, close to the situation.
That's actually what it was. If you guys followed the lawsuit, she actually was pregnant by R. Kelly, and she did get rid of the baby. Okay. Let's go forward. I'm trying to get to Andrea. Okay, here we go. I think he's getting into Andrea. All right, let's get into
I'm going to put it out there partially, but it's up to him to say anything about it because it's his story. But Dre and Earl produced the music before us coming to R. Kelly. And then once we were with him, they still produced music when we came back home. You know, he'd go in the studio, do what he was doing. They go in the studio, do what they were doing.
Go forward a little bit more. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. Y'all bear with me. I'm trying to get to... I want you guys to hear what they're saying about Andrea. Because she is not a victim at all. Okay, let's see.
We were walking through it, and it was just, when I say beautiful, it was gorgeous. I've got the hood on. I tilt my head down because I'm doing this star thing. And we get inside the building, and we go to our green room. They walk me in. I look in, it's nobody in there.
Let me go for a little bit more. Okay, hold on. I think say something about a dancer. Hold on.
Anything about it? Because they didn't even know. I never said anything to anyone.
Gotcha. So at one point, Drea became R. Kelly's backup dancer.
All right, let's listen.
I think it was around you know, I definitely know it was around the 12 Play album, I believe.
Okay.
And he had some sort of audition, which we never were at. So we never saw the audition, none of that. I'm just basically hearing from Drea saying that she had went to an audition, because I didn't know how she got there, actually. So, and then she ended up dancing, and he had like 3 other dancers as well. And she was rehearsing and, you know, getting ready for the tours.
Okay. I mean, but the 12 Play time, are you guys still in the group with R. Kelly, or are you guys gone by this point?
No, they were both gone. I was still pretty much there. Like I left for a while, and we got a deal with Atlantic Big Beat, and we were working on our album in New York. We did that. We were signed to like an independent that had that deal with Atlantic Big Beat. So because of whatever was going on with the independent, they shelved the project. So we came back to Chicago, started doing a few shows here and there, you know, promoting, and then it kind of just dried out. So at that point, I'm looking at everybody. I'm like, hey man, we need to get some money from somewhere. And I was like, I'm gonna call Dude, you know what I'm saying, and go back on tour, do something. So I ended up going back. And when I got back, she was one of the dancers, and there were 3 other dancers.
Okay, and I guess her and the other dancers, they would all sleep with R. Kelly in the back of the bus together?
Well, basically, I mean, because it was, I mean, I'm sure you've seen the tour bus. Everybody who does music has seen the tour bus. There's a back room, and then there's a bunch of bunks. Mm-hmm. So we had bunks, and he stayed on the back room, and all the girls stayed with him.
Okay, but at one point, Drea stayed in the back room, and the other girls had to go in the bunks.
Yeah, it happened like later. They all stayed on there for a while, you know what I'm saying, throughout whatever particular tour that was. And then one day, it just changed. And then the girls were in the bunk.
Y'all hear that? Miss I'm a Victim. Andrea came on to dance for R. Kelly, and they all had beds to sleep in, but she was sleeping in the same bed with him with the other girls. And y'all know what was going on in there, because he was already messing with Aaliyah when she was only 14 years old, and her family found out and snatched her up out of there and not allowed her to work with him no more. So he got some more young girls. Andrea said that she was only 18, 19 years old when she started dancing for R. Kelly. Now, all these girls, young, of course, started sleeping in the bed with him. So he was sleeping with these girls while they were working for him. Andrea was also back there sleeping with him, and y'all know what they were doing, menage a trois and all that. So while she's sitting in interviews, I'm a victim, he did this to me. You came in the door doing that shit. And they're telling it right here.
Bunks, and it was just him and her on the back of the bus, and basically, don't nobody look at her, don't do nothing, don't talk to her, nothing. And it was over.
Okay, and they eventually got married and had 3 kids.
Right.
When Drea talks about all the abuse claims and stuff like that, did you see any of that?
Talks about all the what?
All the abuse claims?
Never saw abuse, but you knew, you know, if you were there, anybody that's there knows that he controls everything. So if she came into the studio was in the basement of his house, he come to the studio or whatever the case may be, and everybody would know she's coming, like she's going to walk through, and we would look in the ceiling. Everybody. And nobody would speak, nothing, not a word, wouldn't utter not one word. And that would be it. So that's the most you've seen any of their personal, just by her just walking through. You never really was around to see it, you know, how they communicated, none of that. You would see her in passing.
Now, at one point, Sparkle came around.
Mm-hmm. Well, she didn't just come around. And that's the problem I got with Sparkle, you know.
Now, he's saying Sparkle lied about her part in terms of when she came into the picture, because she was already married to Earl, who was the other member of Public Announcement. So she didn't just come around. She was already technically around, because she was doing background vocals for like Aaliyah and other artists that R. Kelly had on his roster. So Sparkle had been around. She knew who R. Kelly was. Her family was also working for R. Kelly, because her, I think, brother-in-law played guitar for several songs on a lot of R. Kelly's songs. So she's been in the mix with R. Kelly for quite some time, but she wanted to be a solo artist. But the story she put out, and even on the documentary Surviving R. Kelly, she put out that she just, you know, popped up and then she started working with him as art. No. It wasn't that. And Public Announcement, they were around, so they're going to talk about it, because the third member who was in Public Announcement was their bandmate. So let's get into it.
You know what I'm saying? Particularly.
Okay.
Because me and Earl worked on her demo. got it. It was hot. And Earl says to me, he says, hey, take this to Kale's. I'm like, not a good idea. I said, it's not a good idea. And he was like, yes, it is. You know, I'm married to her. It's good. So I said, okay. So I took the demo down there. He listened to it. He said, oh, man, it's hot. Yeah, but I'm going to have to do this myself. He said, and I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I'm going to have to produce this all myself and write it. He said, y'all did some good work, but I'm going to do this on my own. So he said, you know, I'll do this, but, you know, it's going to have to be no Earl, no nothing. She's going to have to come down here. If she want her album done, she's going to have to sleep on this studio couch for 30 days. And that's the only way I'm doing it. So I go back and I tell Earl. And he doesn't believe me. He like, no, it's going to be good. I say, Earl, she's never coming back. He said, yes, she is. It's good. So Rob, I'm at the studio one day. Rob say, call up Steph and see, can she come down and do some vocals? And this was around the time she was doing vocals on Aaliyah's album. See what I'm saying? So it wasn't even about her album. She was just coming to do background vocals. So she came and did that. And shortly after that, it was no more her and Earl. It was a wrap.
So Sparkle started sleeping with R. Kelly. So this is the pattern of behavior. I'm just showing y'all a pattern of behavior with R. Kelly. All the women or any artists that he was dealing with and or trying to help, he was sleeping with them. Mind you, like I just told y'all, Sparkle was married to the third member of Public Announcement. R. Kelly told Sparkle that he would work with her to get her album out, but she had to come and stay at his house and sleep on the couch for 30 days. Now, if you guys remember, there's an interview out there where Sparkle talked about how she would go over to R. Kelly's house. Andrea would be upstairs in the bedroom with the door locked and could not come out until she knocked on the door and got permission from R. Kelly because he had women coming in and out of the house. Now, Sparkle would be there, you know, booed up with R. Kelly and doing whatever she was doing with R. Kelly. And like I said, Andrea would be upstairs. It was understood that was the lifestyle that it was because Andrea knew coming in what it was with R. Kelly. He wasn't just with her. He was with multiple women, but the only reason she married him was to secure her spot with him. But he didn't give a fuck about Andrea because he was messing with multiple people, multiple artists. He was barely home because he was touring all the damn time. And then we hear about all the Azriel Clarys and all the other girls that he was with, Jocelyn Savage and all these girls who were locked in rooms. It was a pattern of behavior with him. So when Andrea get in interviews and play this victim role, like she didn't know that R. Kelly was this person and he did all these things, you knew this prior because you were sleeping in the bed with him and doing little egregious things with him and the other girls back there in the damn tour bus. This shit is so crazy. And these guys were there and saw this stuff. That's why they're like, excuse me, what? Andrea, what? So none of them could look at her when she came in the studio after R. Kelly officially made Andrea his wife. They had to look away, look at the walls, look in the ceiling when she walked in because he was just that crazy and that, you know, controlling or whatever. So all these things she knew, but she enjoyed that because Andrea was driving in a nice car. She had all the nice, you know, she was eating at nice restaurants, traveling nice. She had all this stuff to her exposure, and she was married to R. Kelly. She was his wife. So she didn't give a fuck about all this other stuff he was doing and who he was with. She was enjoying the lifestyle because Andrea came from nothing. So it's just weird to me how she keeps doing these interviews and fake crying like she was so distraught when, baby, you were living in a mansion, riding in Rolls Royces, eating at Mr. Childs and living your best life. And you were living your best life so much so your own daughter just came out to say that she was molested with an M by R. Kelly. You were so consumed with your lifestyle, you didn't even see what the fuck was going on with R. Kelly and your daughter. So spare me, girl. Don't send in interviews. And I'm not trying to make light of what happened to her daughter. I'm sorry that shit happened to her because it never should have happened, especially by her own fucking father. But the fact that Andrea keep doing videos and interviews like she's the victim, no, ma'am. You stayed there because you liked the lifestyle. You stayed there because you didn't want to be poor. You stayed there because you enjoyed what R. Kelly was giving you. And the you know, places that you were able to go and travel. R. Kelly was not there for none of the babies that were born between him and Andrea. Andrea had all her babies by herself. She said in an interview, R. Kelly was never at the hospital when she gave birth to their children. That's just how disconnected they were. She didn't care because she was going home to a mansion. He was never there. She was tucked away in a house and couldn't fucking go nowhere until she got permission like a child. But you knew that coming in because you had to go through that shit from the beginning. So spare me, child. It's weird to me. These guys right here sitting up here like spilling major tea about R. Kelly and how he was and who he was and how he operated. And Andrea coming into this situation, she knew who R. Kelly was. So for him to show his attention to her and make her the main chick, that's all she wanted to be, was the main chick. And she stuck around long enough back there on that bed on that tour bus until she did it. Which says to me, you were doing a little bit more than the other girls that made him choose you over them. Period. Period. R. Kelly was a fucking freak. And Andrea freaked her way to the top to be the main chick. And what you complaining for? What you complaining for? That's what you asked for. That's what you asked for. You knew the story that was going on with Aaliyah. You didn't give a damn. You said, Aaliyah gone, I'm about to take that top spot. And that's exactly what you did. And you secured the bag and went and had 3 kids by this nigga who wasn't there to clip the biblical cord from none of your children. They never really had a tight bond and or relationship with him. And when he was home, he was with other women. Period. Go look at interviews. Go back and look at the R. Kelly documentary. Child, bye. Andrea didn't even get to choose where she got married and when. R. Kelly planned everything from what she wore to the location of the wedding to when the wedding was. And her family wasn't even there when they got married. Go look it up. But you accepted that. Because in the real world, a woman wants her family to be there to congratulate her, especially if you're getting married to somebody like R. Kelly. You know what kind of bag he's sitting on. So you're trying to have a nice, luxurious wedding. They had a nice little simple wedding where he chose what she wore. So you went into this situation knowing what it was. But now that there's a divorce, and you didn't divorce him, mind you, she didn't divorce him until all this documentary bullshit came out. And she felt like she was going to have to testify again. And I feel like she stayed with him. And then after the documentaries and all that came out, that's when the divorce came. So you did what you needed to do to keep your mouth shut, to get your money from R. Kelly. And once you got your bag, then you started talking because you didn't want people turning on you. You don't want people turning on you. Because a lot of them girls that was on that tour bus, they started talking. Oh, they're very much familiar with who Andrea Kelly is. So she is not a victim. I'm going to watch this damn interview later on when it comes on with Carlos King. And we're going to, I guess, dissect it and I guess pull receipts on it and talk about it. Because I just don't feel like Andrea Kelly needs to continue to do. And then you're riding off this situation with your daughter and what R. Kelly did to her when you didn't protect her. Where were you when this shit happened? You knew who this man was. You knew he was a fucking pedophile because he was messing with Aaliyah. So why would you trust him around your kids? I don't give a damn if he is your baby daddy. You knew the caliber of person he was and what he could potentially do because he was doing the shit with you. You were young when you met him. And it was girls younger than you that was on the back of that bus in that bed. Girl, bye. But that's our video. We're not going to watch the entire video. If you guys want to watch more of this, it's on Vlad TV. You can go and check it out. It's the R. Kelly public announcement and Sparkle documentary video with Vlad TV. Y'all can check him out. He has a lot of really nice videos where he do interview people. And if you haven't watched the Surviving R. Kelly's, you're missing a treat because all of that's there. Lisa Van Allen, her interview is there as well, where she talked about R. Kelly, how she came to know him. She was the girl who braided his hair in one of his videos. Y'all remember? The cycle goes on. And every single woman that he dealt with and or abused, it was the same shit. He did the same exact thing. And R. Kelly did the same thing to Andrea. She just won't leave him because of the lifestyle. But she's a victim, child. She's going to always be a victim in the damn interviews. And that's what pisses me off with her. But that is it and that is all. Yeah, she was there. She turned a blind eye and she was there. She didn't give a fuck. Just like the girl that was in the little video where R. Kelly was urinating on her and all that bullshit. It happened right there in the same house. And guess who was upstairs when the shit happened? It happened downstairs in the Colorado room in R. Kelly's mansion while Andrea was upstairs. And Andrea was supposed to be the young girl that was in the video with R. Kelly, who was 13, 14 years old at the time, while Andrea's ass was upstairs in the same house where the shit was happening. You can't tell me you didn't hear something, know nothing, because during the time, what's the girl, Lisa Van Allen? She talked about how she knew that R. Kelly was married. She didn't give a damn. She didn't give a damn. She was in the video as well. So yeah, Andrea was supposed to be the girl's godmother, who was Sparkle's niece. They would drop her off over there to be watched because R. Kelly's, not R. Kelly, but Sparkle's brother-in-law, who played guitar for R. Kelly, that was his daughter who was being violated by R. Kelly. And Andrea was watching her and was supposed to watch her. So that tells me you weren't doing what you were supposed to be doing. You didn't watch her. You didn't watch your own kids. And that's how it happened to her kids as well. Just like the 14-year-old Sparkle's niece. You weren't watching her like you were supposed to. Because how is it that she got down there? And this happened numerous times, you guys, with this 14-year-old. It wasn't just one encounter where R. Kelly was sleeping with this girl. So you mean to tell me none of these times you didn't know nothing was going on? You didn't hear nothing, like nothing? You didn't know anything? Godmama who was watching this girl? Fuck out of here, Andrea. But that's it, guys. That's it. Let me get out of here because she pissed me off. Thank you, guys. Thank you to my mods. Thank you to all the content creators. Thank you to all my caramelians for stopping in. We will look at the video, the interview with Andrea. Well, I'm gonna look at it first just to see what it is, and then we're gonna look at it as well. Okay, I definitely want to cover that and look at it. So thank y'all for coming over. This is a very short video because I literally just got off live. But thank y'all. Please hit the like button, and I'll see you guys later on. Okay, love you guys down and goodbye. Let me get my music up. Bye.